What's up guys, this is Steve for Android at Night, and today I'm going to be discussing 5 reasons why I think the Pixel phones from Google are worth purchasing. And I apologise if you can hear the dryer in the background. It's just unbelievably loud. The big thing that Apple has always levied as a criticism at Google is fragmentation. The idea that you're not getting the purest Android experience on a smartphone. Obviously the Nexus line was kind of built to combat this. They were all built with Google, and it was really Google's attempt to tailor Android to what it thought it could be. However, now we have Made by Google, we have got this definite step towards making this a much closer, tighter ecosystem for Google and Android, which is much, much closer to the iOS Apple model. So what I think this means is that the Pixel phones are going to be the best example of what Google wants you to experience when using an Android phone. It is obviously going to put all of your Google services front and center, and I think the biggest change is Google's new Assistant. And this is the first reason I think that the Pixel phones are really worth trying out, is that you're getting Android 7.1 out of the box. And don't let the numbers fool you. The incremental change from Android 7.0 to 7.1 isn't particularly incremental. I think arguably it's larger than what we saw from 6.0 to 7.0. Google Assistant is now a really big part of the Android experience. You're going to be using it for voice commands, for getting information. It still has some of the features we know and love, so it's got a kind of recognizable Google Now-ish kind of home screen. Also has the Google Now on Tap feature, where if you long press on the home button then swipe up, you will get all that great contextual information from whatever you are looking at on your phone screen. And one of the reasons I would recommend getting a Pixel phone over, say, picking up a Nexus from last year is that there's no guarantee that all the Pixel features are going to ever come to Nexus devices. I think the majority of them probably are, but if you are looking for that pure Google Android experience, then the Pixel phones are going to be the only way that you can experience that. The second reason is that these things have a new type of quick charge which will purportedly let them charge 7 hours in 15 minutes. Now I haven't checked with every single phone, but I'm pretty sure that is the quickest quick charging on the market today, and it really is going to redefine your relationship with charging your phone. You don't need to leave your phone on overnight to charge anymore. You'll literally just be able to pop it on charge in the morning for 5-10 minutes and boost yourself back up to full. I think this is really exciting. Obviously, battery technology hasn't really exploded in the same way that screen technology or chipset technology has. So having a phone that can get 7 hours of use off 15 minutes of charge is going to be absolutely phenomenal. In at number 3, we have the camera, and this is going to come with a small pinch of salt. Google have claimed this is the best mobile camera ever, and lots of companies have said this claim. It's not completely unique. However, looking at the specs, there is a possibility that this could well be the best mobile camera ever made. There's a company called DxOMark who give ratings to different types of camera, and within the smartphone category, no phone has ever scored as highly as this. This apparently scored an 89, which is, again, apparently very good. I had no idea who these people were until Google started talking about them, and I feel like I'm in the majority there, although a lot of people have suddenly started talking about DxOMarks with huge amounts of authority. But if we do trust these tests, then the camera should be absolutely fantastic. It's a very similar camera to what we've got on the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 7 Plus. Because the sensor is slightly larger, this means that the pixels are actually slightly bigger. They're 1.55 micron pixels. This will let more light into the lens and should result in better photographs. This should be especially pertinent in low light situations. Most smartphone cameras now are pretty decent when you're outside and you've got good lighting, but it's in low light performance where they really, really struggle, or hopefully in the case of the Pixel, really, really shine. Then at number 4, we segue straight from the camera into the storage. Now, a lot of people have been complaining that the storage options on the next old habits die hard, that the storage options on the Pixel phones are not particularly adequate for the price. This is definitely a somewhat legitimate concern. I think the Pixel phones are overpriced, and that's just going to be something we're going to have to deal with. If you get the 32GB model of the Pixel, once you take into account all the software stuff and all the updates and all that good stuff, you're probably going to be looking at about 25, 26GB of storage on your phone. I think this is fairly adequate for most users, especially as Google have included an unlimited 4K video and photo backup service. This means you can save all the photos you take on your Nexus 6. This means you can save all the photos you take on your Pixel phone and all the videos. This is great for someone like me. I'm going to be able to shoot lots of 4K video on the Pixel, using it for establishing shots and vlogs and to camera pieces. I no longer have to worry about getting them off my phone in full quality. Obviously, if you've got Google Drive, you can pretty much save anything you want in compressed quality. This means I can save everything at full resolution for free in the cloud. People who are already paying for this service were paying about a tenner a month. So actually, if you factor that into the price of the phone, if you think you're gonna get the Pixel for say a 2-year upgrade cycle, you're saving what, 240 quid from just not paying for that. So actually, when you sort of factor that in, the price starts to make slightly more sense. And then finally on the list is the chipset that these bad boys are running. The Pixel and the Pixel XL are identical apart from the screens and the batteries. Both of these phones are rocking the new Qualcomm Snapdragon 821 processor. These are 64-bit processors and they're going to be running with 4 GB of RAM. And at least on paper, this is probably the best chipset to ever go into a mobile phone. I take all these initial reviews and first looks of phones with a huge pinch of salt. Often they're not even released versions, the software's different, you never even know if the hardware is exactly the same. And no one can really say if a phone is quick or not after using it for 3 or 4 minutes with very limited apps. However, everyone who's used it has said it is buttery smooth, and you'd obviously expect and hope this, but hopefully this is really going to be the time when Google have delivered on their promise of making everything as quick and fluid as it is in iOS on Android. We've had stuff like Project Butter, which got introduced into Android M, but even using a Nexus 6P, there has been that slight gap where it's never been quite as smooth an experience as you can get on iOS, and hopefully the Pixel phone is going to fix that, give us all that great Android functionality and freedom with the slickness of using an Apple device. And I think that's really what this comes down to. The Pixel phone is basically the iPhone for Android at this point. It's the one that is made by Google, it's completely controlled, it's the exact experience of Android that the people who make Android want you to have. It's going to be a very different experience from using, say, Galaxy S7 or anything made by HTC or LG. And that, for me, is the main reason why I'm trying to buy a Pixel phone. As you guys know, I lost my Nexus 6P, so that's kind of given me a little bit of a kick and a bit of a motivation to actually purchase this, when perhaps before I would have been slightly less inclined. But I do need a phone which is going to be able to show you guys the cutting edge of Android, and I want to be able to show you everything that you can do with an Android phone. And I think the best way to show you guys what you can do with an Android phone is to get the phone that is pure Android and pure Google. So there you are, guys. Let me know what you think of the new Pixel phones in the comments below. I know a lot of people are upset over the price, and I completely understand that. I also think the design is potentially slightly divisive. I personally think it looks really nice, but then I haven't seen it in the flesh. I am very interested to see how well these things sell. They're obviously not aiming at the same market as the original Nexus phones, especially the Nexus 5. I think this really is Google going at Apple's jugular. This is aiming for the people who are going to be spending upwards of £600, $750, whatever, on a smartphone. I think you can definitely warrant this price when you look at the specs, and hopefully the whole new Google Assistant experience is going to be worth paying for as well. The other thing with Google Assistant is that it's been really placed at the center of Google Home and all the Google Smart Home stuff. It's going to be powering everything that you use. It's going to be talking to different devices. And it makes sense that at the center of Google's phone experience is an AI which learns and responds to you. Obviously, the big thing with Google is that it has access to all of your data. And if you're fine with Google having this, it means it can make services which are incredibly tailored and incredibly powerful. So there you are, guys. That is just my quick thoughts on the Pixel phone. As I mentioned in my previous video, I am off to Devon tomorrow, so I have a couple of things which I will upload for you, and then when I'm back I will have some footage of beaches and the sky and the sea and all that good stuff. But do let me know in the comments below if there's anything else you would like to see. Please go ahead and hit the like button, and also go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. You can follow me and on my social media whatnots with the links in the description. As always, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.